Definitely better than the vertical view. On the move. Happy holidays, everybody, from Los Angeles, the place that we call home, or at least some of us do. I was the ambulance. Hopefully everybody's all right. It's not that cold tonight. It's kind of hazy, a little bit foggy, but somebody's gonna let me out here. Boom. On the main drag. And like, I hear people being like, don't stream and drive, but is this the city of angels? Like, everybody is car bound here until they're not. And when you're not car bound, that means you're on the street. And there's too many people on the streets. There's a lot of people on the streets. I was feeding people on the streets today. And I wish more people would put more time into doing good things in the city instead of some negative shit. But we're gonna hit the roll. And I'm working on another story. And like, people think I'm gonna give up easy or something, but no, if there's a story that can be got, you're gonna get the story. And like, when I put something out, it's gonna be good. You know, and I was just working on updating old stories and like doing some polishing. You know, the proofing has gotten a little bit more advanced with the AI. A little bit shorter, a little bit sweeter. The more you write, the more you do journalism, the better you get at it. It's like anything else. But I don't think this is any different, if you ask me, than being an Uber or a Lyft driver. And those guys are constantly looking at their phones because they got to look at the routes. You know, they got to see what's up with the customers. And everybody's got a business in this city. So people spend so much time in their cars, like, you just like learn to do it. And like, it's certainly harder to read chats when you do this type of deal, but at the same time, outside of certain fixed locations in the city, like, it's kind of like streaming is an on the move thing. I see some people doing streaming on like bikes, like scooters and stuff, but it ain't no different. Got the Lucky Lady casino over there. Can't quite like pan, but like be a lady tonight. Literally. And some people have no sense of like humor and like no sense of like doing the right thing either in the city, and like that certainly like, is a problem. So actually, like, what I really want to know tonight is the U.S. Attorney's Task Force on Human Trafficking, the Human Trafficking Initiative, launched last September, having any effect? Is it working, right? Because like, the biggest cost center we have is law enforcement in the city. Like, we spend more money on cops than we spend on anything else. And like, the question gets to be, right, like, does this have an effect? Like, if you create a purpose, create a goal, right, and start marshaling resources, like, can you actually affect like something like street markets, right? And, you know, like, the buying and selling of people in this city is pretty outrageous. And we're not just talking about the politicians, like people on the streets, taqueros, you know, getting robbed, people getting trafficked to work. And like, I hear this like anti-immigrant like sentiment going on, and it's the most irrational thing ever, because that will never work in Los Angeles. Apparently like Stephen Miller from like the Trump administration is like sending letters to elected officials trying to criminalize them for obstructing his deportations. But like, the average taquero out here on the streets is like, come on, like, it's not the problem. They got so many other bad things going on in this city, and like, go after immigrants wholesale, I don't know. At the same time, right, like, I think that like going one, like after the homelessness like issue, like better to get more people off the streets, get them housed, and then to stop, right, like essentially it's human trafficking. And like, if you believe the LAPD, they rescued more than 100 people off of Figueroa, including minors as young as like 12. And like, that should be concerning to everybody. So like, does the combined effort of law enforcement, right, like, to do this job, have any effect. And like, really, like, somebody asked me earlier, I'm like, how do you determine, right, what do people feel comfortable coming out and doing business or not? You know, um, obviously, right, like, if you have a deterrent, right, to a certain activity, it should work, right? It should go, no, like, get off of that street. And like, it's still kind of early. I mean, like, the real test, right, is like late at night, but like, I've been trying to like not like spend like all night in the darkest places of the city, but that's that. But I don't want to give anybody any ideas. Press. At the same time, I do think it's important to point the camera at the issues that we have. And like, certainly like street photography and like street journalism and street live streaming, is like interoperable. Like, this is a tool that people should be using for good, ideally, right, instead of like criminal mischief. But here we go. I'm just going to do a quick inventory here. We got the Rio. Just a head count. I think the last times I came out here, I counted at least 70 or 80 people. And like, to see like the actual like degree of criminality going on out here, you would have to spend a lot more time than I got tonight. Boom. Bumpy streets. And like, I think I got a pretty good swivel. It's pretty dark tonight. There's no moon tonight. But I like to think the U.S. Attorney's Office is serious when they say that they want to address this. That motel, I think that's the one. The city attorney is suing another one of the motels out here. There goes the LAPD helicopter. And I was reading the lawsuit. Like, they filed a lawsuit in October. So like, that's definitely going in the story. Sports bars. This is still the way south end of it. But I guess some people do different things with their lives. I think exposing wrongdoing and exposing the nefarious forces of evil, and frankly, out here you're talking street gangs, in addition to people who are more dedicated traffickers, and often traffickers are allied with gangs, is something that like more people should be doing. And like, certainly like the risk you take with journalism is if you write anything about anybody that's like, investigative, actually exposing things, like, they will retaliate. They get mad. So you better be sure what you're doing. Kind of crispy. Got some reindeer over there. It hasn't really rained at all here. There's no snow in the mountains. It's 54 degrees out, which is not too cold, to be honest. There's another motel. Guy's got a phone. Liquor stores. Got a church. All right, there's one. It's still early though. It's mad early out here. Dumpster. That's 2, 3. I think that's 3. I'm trying to reach out to some of the service providers. I mean, you can come out in daytime, same thing out here. some of the other journalists who have covered this in the past, but I haven't heard back from any of them. I mean, really good reporting. It combines street information with interviewing and records. Records are really, really great, especially when you can get really good records. And thankfully, we have the California Public Records Act. The Orchid Motel. Got the liquor store. I saw 3. It's pretty quiet out here. It's still very early, 4 or 5. When a bit like late at night down here, there's way more freaking people. 7, 8, 9. Graffiti. Ten. 11, 12. 13, that's a transaction. That guy's just in the street. I mean, all right, so that's already a dozen plus within like a couple blocks. It's later at night, it gets more dense. And again, like this whole area, right? These whole areas are controlled by numerous criminal operations. And so you put a target on your back if you report on stuff like this. It has to be done the right way. Pretty quiet. And this is a neighborhood too. People live off these side streets. It's homes. I talk to the neighbors. So come out and start knocking on doors. And like, supposedly Vice is all over this. They got a bunch of money from Department of Justice. Pretty quiet over here. Got Taquero, close. Yeah, everyone here on the right, Taquero. Guy just sitting. I think it's down. Maybe it's just early and like it is like a Monday. The El Del Motel. Probably another prime candidate for nuisance abatement lawsuits. Person pushing a cart, palm trees, Christmas lights. I think it's down. Could be the season, it could be the night. Business, taqueros. Who doesn't love tacos? And like, that's the craziest part about Trump, is he wants to get rid of the people who make your tacos. Like, why would you do that? Everybody loves tacos. 14, 15. Those guys are just chilling. 16. The full moon in. 17. I think one night I counted like 40 or 50 people out here. So, but it hasn't really rained, and it hasn't like even gotten that stormy. It's just been cloudy. Green light. Police right there. Got a coin laundry. I think it's gonna take me a couple more weeks on this one, maybe. LAPD is supposed to do a press conference about this soon. I don't have the details on the press conference, but there is a Figueroa Street press conference coming. So I think McAllen is like 15. Considering it's a Monday, 16, 17, 18. $19. She waved. Nope. Side streets. House of Huru. And like, it'd be nice, right? Like, I know there's some service providers. Like, I've only identified a few so far. You know, I think as far as like potential like funding opportunities for social services like programs, I mean, right now we're throwing a ton of money at homelessness, and like a lot of it is getting diverted. Like I was reading earlier that LAHSA's budget, the LA County Homeless Services Authority, they're spending 18% on overhead, which is actually pretty high for overhead. Ideally, your overhead is not more than 10% on a program. 20 over there on the left side. The corner's clear. Number 4 motel. Another prime candidate for nuisance abatement lawsuits. 22, I think. 23. They're talking. No. 24. 2 dozen. Florence. I think it's down a little bit. And like, if the idea of like the U.S. Attorney's Office task force was to put more law enforcement resources specifically on this, it's both on the street and it's behind closed doors in the motels, right? And like some people I've talked to like about this issue, they are against the idea of like the rescuer model, right? The police kick in the door, right, and take you off to a new life. But unfortunately, that's kind of where we're at. That's 25. 26, 27, 28, 29. There's the police right there. Look at them making a stop. Some type. 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Coin ops. Having some type of conversation on the left side over there. There's a smoke shop actually. Blocking the street. Oh man, that's a lot more. It's like 30 now. It's like a 30 count. And like, there's more police. So there's something going on with the police back there. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. $39, $40, $41. Yeah, I thought it was down, but nah, the density just picked up. That's the LAPD helicopter overhead. Where do you go? Behind me. So, yeah, not too much of a drop. I'm not sure what the LAPD call was back there, but I don't really feel like going back there right now. Need to hit up, this is 77th Street Vice Division, and that's within South Bureau of the LA Police Department. Los Angeles Police Department. U.S. Attorney's Office did have like some case updates on like the cases that they were prosecuting already. And I did hear back from them. I have not heard back from the City Attorney's Office or the District Attorneys. So LAPD and the U.S. Attorney's Office are more responsive about what's going on than City Attorney, which is misdemeanors, or the District Attorney's Office, which is felonies. But there's more business going on down there. That's like 42. Liquor store. So, I mean, people have been talking, right? Like the Olympics are coming, World Cup is coming, Super Bowl is coming. Like, right, are they going to sweep the homeless? Or are they going to sweep Figueroa Street, which is what they did before the last Olympics in 1984? They did a big old sweep. And like, people who don't follow like homelessness aren't familiar with the Grants Pass decision, which this summer criminalized homelessness essentially nationwide and gave jurisdictions the power to arrest you if you don't want to get off the street. And so like sort of like one of the questions like is, right, like can a Grants Pass decision be used in other ways, right, other than just homelessness, right, to target, you know, and again, like all that is all illegal activity back there. It is not legal to loiter for the purposes of, you know, selling your body on the street, but enforcing that is more difficult than I think the police would like to admit. And they actually passed a law a while back, I think it passed, to say that you couldn't simply target people on the basis of how they were dressed. And it was supposed to kind of be like a civil rights law. There's police. But, I mean, to the extent that it's culturally sensitive, everybody, you know, particularly like, say, like Community Coalition, thinks this is a problem. Community Coalition hotels down here demolished. And the way you can get that done is through a nuisance abatement lawsuit. And, like, really, like, where the issue is the people who own the motels, right, who are profiting off of human trafficking here in Los Angeles, they don't want to just give up their assets. And so I know that the New Bay Motel was suing. I think the New Gage Motel was done. But I got to check up on some of those lawsuits. It's kind of an interesting read. I mean, insofar as if you want to understand, like, how private property can be seized, right, for under a public purpose. Yeah, it's like 41 or 42, I think. Thins out a little bit over here. No. Walking the dogs. People live here. It's a neighborhood too. I mean, I think my report back, right, is that no, it's not down. And like, even though there were a lot of signs of police activity back there, obviously this is not a problem that just goes away because the highest law enforcement officials in the city do a press conference, even with more money coming in. And like one like tool they have, right, is they got the Vice unit DSLR cameras to take pictures of people's license plates as they go through the neighborhoods, right? So they'll sit there in the plainclothes and they will photograph license plates, and then you get a Dear John letter from the city attorney's office saying, hey, you were seen in this area. You know, we suspect you're engaged in solicitation. Stay away. And like, I know they sit down on a bunch. I'm not sure how many of those people they've caught reoffending. There's a bunch of food trucks here though. Kind of the end of it. So, not really down. U.S. Attorney's Task Force has had a few months now to show success. And like, I actually like to think I have a pretty good relationship with the U.S. Attorney's like office. Like, so I get like, comments or stories, right? And they replied very quickly, but it was very low info. I think at some point, whether or not they have to admit that they're not able to just deploy law enforcement down here and totally make that issue go away. Even if you just went right now and you started arresting every single person I just counted, right? Like, what do you do with people? Like, we don't have enough housing. Like, how quickly can you get those people out of that lifestyle? What happens too to their families? Because very often you're talking about gangs, right? Who are making threats towards people's families too, right? Like, if you don't work for me, I'm gonna go get your family. And like, that's a really ugly way to do business. But it's ugly. It's an ugly issue. And then of course, like, I mean, the people who have money in the city, right? Like, they're able to afford to go to, the soccer games, right? Like, they can buy, $100 tickets. But if you spend $200 or $300 right on your soccer ticket, like, that's, money too that's trickling down there. But that's Los Angeles. I don't want to present too much of a target. So where your Los Angeles Football Club plays over here. And I think it's going to be a new I think they are doing this development now. It's going to be like mixed use on the right with like housing and like dining and retail. So everything past Vernon is going to get gentrified. Like, those were parking lots and they've been wanting to build on those for years. I believe it's the Ventus Group still. Got a Los Angeles Football Club billboard. But the like gap between money up here and then down there is huge. And like, essentially, like, this University Park area has been really extended as far as like the money pathway to downtown through the South Park neighborhood of downtown LA, which is where the graffiti towers are located. That guy's pushing a shopping cart. I might give it 1 or 2 more passes at some point, but I think, at least for now, I'm saying that U.S. Attorney's Task Force, if it was, a work with, nonprofits, to work with coalition to get real results there. And I don't want to present too much of a, target for certain people maybe engaged in mischief, but the police actually have real jobs they're supposed to be doing. And like, I think a lot of people in the city know what's going on down there. They don't agree with it. They understand, right, that like what you see there is just like the tip of the iceberg. I mean, having gotten some of the reports from like, say, nuisance abatement lawsuits, and then from when the city was considering buying a motel down there, or rather essentially contracting it out to be a homeless shelter. A lot of it's happening behind closed doors. This is USC up here. People who have not signed my petition to get USC to release Title IX data. We've got like 44 signatures and counting. And I'm gonna pick up with that campaign because I think press should make a difference. Like, your journalism should be doing something positive. We're gonna be renewing that push next year to get USC to release all of that data, which they were obligated to do so by law. And it's going to be a happy 25, like, accountability, journalism, investigation. So like, why do you have to go down there and observe? So you can say, hey, the problem is not getting better. Where are the results, right? Like, you've had a few months to figure this out. It's as much as before, where I could tell. And these guys are having a good time next to me. A lot of that is turf. It's good to be able to see that back. Come down, get yourself a taco. Oh.
It used to be Elwera.
Yeah, it's still El Güero. It used to be something else. I forget what else that stand was before. But that taco stand is delicious. Here at 30th and Figueroa. Come get yourself a taco. Made by America's finest people, immigrants. Hardworking, good, honest immigrants. Doing jobs Americans don't want. Starbucks. Is it 24 hours now? Ridiculous. Get yourself a taco in a Starbucks. Got the lawyers up here. It's this billboard. Criminal defense, immigration, personal injury. It's kind of been like super hazy and cloudy the last couple of days. Not like ideal conditions. Don't make any difference down there though. People are out, they're making money, and money to some people is all that matters. Doing slow crawl. I mean, I can tell you who is locked up. Jose Huizar. Jose Huizar is in Lompoc. He is in a federal correctional facility, Lompoc. And he's doing 13 years for taking $1.5 million in bribes. It's cash alone. It's not counting the escorts in Las Vegas, cheating on his wife who he has 4 kids with. And then he alone is not the reason why the graffiti towers exist. But Huizar was greenlighting every project he could so he could shake it down, do that extortion bit, right? Get that money. And in the end, he's taking a big hit. Actually, I'll be curious to know, and this is where I have to do my research, right? Like how many of these people who they are prosecuting, are going to get serious sentences like that. Kids riding the bikes, got little bike gangs around here. Kid behind me is doing wheelies, or riding sideways in the street. We're gonna ride past here. Bob Hope Patriotic Hall, County of Los Angeles. So to our veterans. I hope all our veterans are having happy holidays. Little roving bike gangs. They haven't hit up any of the convenience stores in a little bit. I was making the news there for a while, but I guess like maybe either LAPD really cracked down, or the store owners, got more security. It's the highway patrol right there on the right. I don't know what that vehicle is for them. It's like a crime scene or something. Fire trap coming up at 10 freeway. Almost there. Convention center. They're putting money into that. Gonna do renovations. Gotta fix everything up before the Olympics. Make LA nice and shiny, right? So everyone can come here, do their party thing, and then go back to their normal lives. And actually, I mean, it's kind of interesting. You can get an idea, right, of like what the graffiti towers might have looked like. They were going to have these huge, right, like electronic banners, like essentially billboards on them. They should, I mean, I like to better them as Staples Center, but this is the symbol of corruption. Our graffiti towers. It's an ambulance. Clear on the right side. Go. Some idea of what's going on. Actually, got the scooters, got the lights. So, I wish everybody a good night. And I love LA. If they ever finish that, which I don't think they're going to. I mean, I think it's going to be a teardown. I don't know what else to do with it, right? Just tear it down. Maybe somebody wants to just buy it to say they did the graffiti towers, right? You know? Everybody's gonna have a nice dinner. Life is gonna go on in the City of Angels. So everybody have a happy holidays from Los Angeles. I'm out.